Radio. Welcome back. We have our first official guest today. Yeah. Up here with one Pace Maynard,
from
a.k.a.
the
Pace
band.
Cadet. From the wonderful band Universal Sigh. And if you don't know Universal Sigh, there's your first problem. Pace, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course, thanks for coming in, dude.
I'm the happiest person on earth right now.
Jenny looks pretty stoked right now.
They're also going to be playing at Seeds of Sound as well.
Well, actually, you guys have a couple of shows coming up before that.
We have mini shows.
many shows. What's first?
Let's hear some dates.
Let's see. We're playing this Saturday at the J&J Music Festival.
4:30.
At 4:30 p.m. for free at J&J Flea Market, just north of Athens. And then on Monday, we are playing with Twiddle at the Georgia Theater.
Word.
And then we have a bunch of dates around the southeast. Let's see, we're doing Elon, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Milledgeville, LaGrange, all in Georgia.
Oh, you're doing a Michi
We are, yeah.
Yeah, right before Seeds of Sound.
Yeah, the week before.
Right, that's pretty awesome.
Let's make it a pre-party, man.
Let's make it a pre-party. Officially, it's a pre-party.
Exclusive,
Word.
folks. That's my thing. I'm just trying to gather exclusives. Like, well, I want to be taken
We
seriously.
have a slew of other dates. I think some, let's see, we got, we're playing the Heap Music Festival, which is in Snow Camp, North Carolina, between, Raleigh and Greensboro, I believe. It's hosted by The Right Avenue, and the Mantras are headlining.
The Mantras, who are actually playing with Kilray Cobra.
After Papadosio this weekend.
This weekend. Yeah.
Let's go to that.
Yeah, my gig on Thursday and Friday got canceled because of the hurricane.
Oh, wow.
So I might be at Dozio.
Might be popping into the Dozio.
I have no idea. There's too many things are happening at the same time.
I know. I want to see Kilray
You know
Cobra
what's
and
happening?
Papadosio, but I'm sure they're playing at the exact same time, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, they're playing the after party.
But will Kilray Cobra be playing after Papadosio?
Yes.
Oh,
I
sweet.
think so. This is the after party.
Everything's working out.
Well, then I'm definitely going to come.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty confident. Yeah.
Who's the other band they're playing with? I
The
know Papadosio.
The Mantras.
The Mantras.
And the Mantras have been a band for a long time. They used to host their own music festival called Mantra Bash, and they haven't done it in 2 or 3 years because the last year that gets referred to as Mantra Splash, it rained and flooded literally where there was I wasn't there, but there was probably 6 to 12 inches of water running straight through the main stage area. And I mean, it bankrupted the festival. I don't know all the details. But what I will say about the Mantras is that they're phenomenal musicians. And their festival, I went in 2013, and it was the first time I ever saw Dopapod. It was the first time I ever saw Pigeons playing ping pong.
Dope. Also
as well as a bunch of other bands that I can't think of off the top of my head. But really, that Dopapod show
Dopapod's fire, dude.
really left an impact.
That's how we met.
And that's how we met.
Hey.
Is shortly after that at a Dopapod concert in Atlanta.
We would just.
I've heard things about Dopapod.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them, but
Them and the Jauntee are my two favorite.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know how you put it. Those are probably my two favorite of the smaller jam bands, although they're different sizes, of course.
Right.
But when I saw Dopapod at Mantra Bash, I was just jaw on the ground. I immediately went back to the camp afterward and looked at the schedule, and I was like, when are they playing again? Because tons of bands were playing 2 sets, and they weren't, and I was very sad.
Well,
I think the first time I saw them, actually, they opened for Consider the Source at T-West one time. It was a fire show.
Was that the one I missed out?
Yeah, that was definitely the one I tried to get you to come to.
They played together at New Earth in Athens in probably 2011 or 2012, and I did not make it.
Yeah,
I made it to that. That's because they had the back-to-back shows. They did one at Terminal West, and then the other at the New Earth. And I didn't even know New Earth was once Livewire. Correct? Is that a urban legend?
so it's the same building, totally different owners and businesses.
Right.
Yeah. New Earth, the owners left Athens and moved to Asheville and opened New Mountain Asheville, which has since closed. And Livewire was in Savannah and then relocated to Athens.
Okay. Wow.
And Dopapod actually, they also played in 2010 in Athens at what was then called Rye Bar for 2 nights, which is now called the Grotto. And it wasn't even the full lineup. I'm not exactly sure who it was. I think it might have just been Eli, and I'm gonna butcher his name, but the original drummer before Fro, who I believe is now the drummer of Turquoise.
Oh, okay. I don't know dude's name.
But I will say, I embarrassingly was told to go to that Dope Pod Consider the Source show by Andrew Giolanella and Callie Lacey, and I failed to make it.
That's things like that always happen to me sometimes
I missed
too.
so many good shows.
Yeah.
Speaking of good shows. Whoa. Oh.
Ooh,
it's empty enough.
foul.
It didn't like crest over the little whatever this part's called. But anyway, speaking of good shows,
what's coming up?
We're not going to Primus at the theater.
God damn.
It's sold out, right?
Why did you even bring it up, dude?
I
I've
can't
been
help
trying
it.
not to think about it.
It's sold out so fast.
Yeah.
There's everything.
If you're out front, you can get in for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
We're gonna make a go at it for sure. That's what I told him. I was like,
shows like that size, especially on a weekday. There's gonna be someone that bought a ticket that can't make it.
Yeah.
No.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It's not like it's My Morning Jacket or Modest Mouse or something where it's like you're not gonna get in.
Primus,
it's gonna be Hambone in the theater.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really even like to go to sold out theater shows anymore.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Well, I mean, the last exception I made was I went to Pigeons because everyone was going there.
Yeah.
And I ended up on the rooftop, and I looked around the rooftop, and everyone I knew was up there. And we were all like, yeah, it fucking sucks down there.
Damn.
And it had nothing to do with the music. It was just that it's
packed.
just packed. And the only time the Georgia Theater sells out pretty much is when they get like hella student turnout.
Mm-hmm.
And when you just have like a bunch of like 18 and 19-year-olds in there,
oh my God,
it turns into a shit show.
Yeah. That's why I sometimes like have to like gauge that too, especially like lately. Like I'm only going to shows like absolutely like if supporting friends. Like I think who is it? Pure Colors is performing at the rooftop for free on is it Saturday?
I think it's a Thursday, but I could be wrong.
I could find out.
I could be completely wrong.
No, but no, I think it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's Thursday. Yep. Because that's what I'm supposed to do tomorrow.
Cool. I can make it now, and my gear's canceled.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's
tomorrow night. Yeah, exactly. And but I want to do like little the Growlers and Nine Inch Nails are both playing at the same day at the same time, and I have to decide if I do go to one, do I want to go to the Growlers or do I want to go to Nine Inch Nails? Love Nine Inch Nails, all my heart and soul, but you know what I mean. Like Fox Theater, I've experienced it a certain way.
I just can't. I almost don't consider seeing any artist that costs more than like $20 anymore.
Yeah, I actually have a rule about that.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I've come to this. $20 for me. It was I reached this point where I've came to the conclusion if you're spending more than $50 on a concert ticket, and like I get it if like there's like that really big fucking star you want to see, but like
Petty.
Yeah, but
Back
if
from
you
the grave.
spend more than $50 on a concert ticket, you're spending too much money.
I mean, I dropped some money to see like Tool.
I will say my exception is Fish.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you go this last time they came?
No, I haven't seen Fish in 2 years because we're always on tour.
Oh damn. Damn. Speaking of you guys being on tour, I think we should bust out some tunes while we're.
All right.
What's
our?
I have some Universal Sigh stuff. That's okay. We can play it. Yeah. This one's called Just Peachy. That's okay. You like that one?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Cool.
Fun fact about this song.
Hit me.
It's named after. So when we started the band, we had 2 drummers. It's kind of a whole story. But William McLean was the other drummer. And this song is named after his high school band.
Oh, really? His band was called Just Peachy? I'm not mad at that band name. Like, at all. That's a pretty dope band name. Alright, so this is Universal Sigh, Just Peachy, off your guys' album Atoms and Void. Came out this year?
2016.
2016, excuse me. Okay, so Atoms and Void, Universal Sigh. Hit it, Wilbur. Clutch. Like it. Good intro.
Oh, my God.
Right, dude.
I'm so...
You can always, like...
All right, so that was Just Peachy by Universal Sigh off their album Athens Georgia.
So jazzy.
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 So Pace, what can you tell me about that song?
Well, Steve Terry, the other guitar player and keyboard player in the band, wrote the music for it. And it was named after one of our... Well, we had two drummers originally. So our other former drummer, William McLean's high school band. And Steve named it Just Peachy after his band as like a working title when he wrote it.
Which, as I said, was a pretty sweet band name. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, and then I wrote the lyrics for it when I was living in Colorado.
Word.
Walking, I was writing most of my lyrics at the time. I'd walk my dog from my house to this dam, and it was up in the mountains, so I'd like walk along the lake and back, and I'd just like hum. Steve would send demos, and the vocal melody was there.
Now,
and so I would
was Steve still in Georgia? You guys were still writing music together at the time?
Yeah, so everyone else was still in Athens, and Julie and I were living out in Colorado.
Okay.
And it's because with the exception of Austin and I, we were all in different grades in school. So Steve was actually 2 years behind Austin and I. And so we got to this awkward point where we'd been a band for a little while, and we were all real serious about it. And Austin and I graduated, and we were essentially looking at doing the Weekend Warrior thing for 2 years and being able to tour in the summer. And so we decided that we would just sort of take a hiatus. And that's not really how we described it at the time, but that's essentially what it was.
Yeah.
And Steve just took as many classes as he could and did summer classes and just tried to graduate as fast as possible. Yeah, absolutely. So like that's why if you look at we didn't really play very many shows in 2014, and I was out there from May 2014 to May 2015, and then in 2015, that summer, we went on tour for the first time, and I moved back, and then Steve finished that fall.
Okay.
And then we've been working towards full-time ever since.
Oh, yeah.
Did over 100 shows in 2016 and in 2017.
Damn, wow. I've grinded it out. That's what I'm talking about.
That's pretty dope. I love how you guys like have made it to Colorado and back, and and the way y'all have managed to weave that that journey there. It's I don't know. It's just cool because a lot of times bands, you try to make it to a certain point. You go towards like Savannah, you come right back real quick, or get towards Ohio, you come back. But you guys have definitely like, how's that journey in itself like to get all the way over there?
Oh, it's a long drive. I've always been drawn to the mountains my entire life. When I graduated from high school, I drove out to Colorado for the first time. Didn't know anything about it. I had just I had traveled around Europe a little bit with my older brother, and I had gotten to spend 3 days in Switzerland, and I was just completely enamored by the Alps, but I couldn't at all afford to go explore them. And so I started researching the Rockies, and Colorado had the most, it has by far the highest concentration of tall mountains in the lower 48 states. And so I drove out there without knowing anything about what the culture was like or anything at all, and just fell in love with it.
It's fun. I went to Denver to see Arcade Fire at the Pepsi Center there, and then I went and stayed like 4 days in Boulder, and I almost lived there. Like I remember I was like, I'm not getting on a plane. I'm gonna tell my parents I'm not coming. Like this is it. I found home.
I understand that. My mom has some cousins that live there, and they told her when I told them that I wanted to drive out to Colorado, they're like, "Be careful, he might not come back." And I wanted to go to the University of Colorado, but when I actually looked at how much it was going to cost, it wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And then I've had a lot of friends over the years move out there.
Yeah.
just one by one. I mean, we played a show out there once in Denver, and there were probably 35 people there, and I kid you not, every single one of them was a Georgia transplant.
That's fucking awesome.
crazy.
Really?
Yeah, every one of them.
That's fantastic.
I don't know how many I know, but I've got to know at least 50 or 60 people that are out there. They're all from Georgia.
Cool.
And so when I was living out there, I was booking the band. That wasn't my intention. I did the music business program at UGA, so I was very aware of how the music industry worked, and I knew that we needed to get a booking agent if we were going to try to play as many shows as we wanted to play. And so I emailed tons of booking agents, and I was also like on Facebook going and researching and like liking every single touring band that I could find that I was interested in all over the country, and like the rooms they were playing. And I emailed all these agents, including our current agent, Erwin Shemankowitz with Ever Upward Entertainment. And although shout out. Although at the time he wasn't working, he hadn't started his company yet. He was still working for a company called Rocky Mountain Artists. So I emailed all of these agents, and every one of them said, "No, I'm way too busy to book you. You don't have any market history anywhere," which was completely understandable in retrospect.
Yeah.
That's
frustrating at the time, I would imagine.
Yeah, frustrating at the time. That's also how I met William Bridwell for the first time, who is the talent buyer at Barrel House South now, and owner and talent buyer at the Blue Room in Statesboro, and longtime booking agent of the Orange Constant, although they have recently switched agents. He's a good friend. And I was just, let's see. So that's how, at some point in that process of looking at bands, I stumbled upon the Jauntee, who are one of my favorite bands now. And completely unrelated to learning about them, I had another friend who was a good friend already at this point, but I had met him, his name's Max. I had met him because he was living next door to my parents, and my parents were his landlord.
Wow.
So he was living in the apartment in the house next door to my parents that they own in Atlanta. And he called me up, and he was like, "Hey, I heard you're living in Colorado. I'm out here skiing, sitting next to my buddy who's a booking agent from Atlanta that lives in Denver. You guys should definitely know each other." And so I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm like, who does he book?" He's like, "He books the Jauntee." I'm like, "Oh, I've heard of them. They are really awesome." And so I looked at their schedule, and they were slated to open for the Magic Beans in Frisco, Colorado, at the Barclay Ballroom in like a few weeks later. And so I went down there, and that's the first time I caught the Jauntee, and that's the first time I met Erwin. And like we were talking a little bit, and we exchanged phone numbers, and the minute I told him my phone number was 404, he just gave me the biggest hug. I was like,
Doubtful.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, buddy?
But he was also like, "No, I'm way too busy to book you." And so I then booked all of our shows in 2015, and we ended up playing 73 shows.
Damn.
And he emailed or called me, got in touch with me around that fall sometime, and told me that he was leaving Rocky Mountain Artists and was starting his own agency, Ever Upward Entertainment, and he was bringing the Jauntee with him, and he was looking for other bands. So we were the second band on Ever Upward, and we've been working together ever since, and I can't speak highly enough of Erwin. He is incredible and works super hard, and absolutely is doing it because he loves music.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
That's all that matters.
Yeah,
man.
that is. I mean, you have to be able to find people like that, because at the end of the day, I mean, you could be doing something for something, or doing it for the money, or doing it for whatever, but you have to really, really love it. You know what I mean? And it feels good when you can connect with people that really, really love it.
And he's had other jobs at various points, but now he's Leftover Salmon's assistant manager.
Wow.
In addition to managing and booking the Jauntee, and booking a bunch of other bands, including Cycles out of Denver, and Jam and Brahmin out of Asheville, and
they coming back.
Steady Flow. I think they're out of Illinois, and another band called
all bands we need to holler at.
The Moves Collective that are out of California, I believe. I'm sure he has some other bands.
Yeah. I mean, Cycles definitely. We saw them. They played with you guys with Moonchief at Sigh in July last year. They were. Yeah, that's where I
remember part of the Sigh in July we played.
Y'all were outside.
Yeah. This was really hot, and I just got real.
You were a last edition.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Because
we appreciate it. Not complaining at all.
Somebody dropped out. Oh, it was Harvey Funkwalker dropped out because
my boy Johan.
Yes, super.
Johan.
It was super unfortunate circumstances that all went down.
Yeah.
But we love you, Johan.
Yeah. God bless.
Shout
out to Johan.
Get him on here.
We do. We'll get Johan out here.
He should. He's toured a ton. He played.
Oh yeah. Johan. I mean, Johan kind of set us up. Johan basically introduced Moonchief to everybody and was like, hey, these kids they're all right. They're cool. They can hang. And yeah, so I definitely owe that to Johan. It was kind of plugging us in with everybody, which is cool. It's been fucking awesome just getting to meet all these really cool people and like you said that have a similar mindset. And I think that was kind of something that was missing from everybody in my band's life was a group of people who were aiming towards the same thing and also a fucking group of bands whose music we all like, which was a big part of why I wanted to do this was because I was like, dude, Universal Sigh is amazing, Sono's amazing, Loner's amazing, all these bands, and then everybody's got other bands they know, and it's just it's been fun.
I can't remember if I saw you guys before Sigh in July. I imagine I saw you once before that because there are very few bands I've booked for the festival that I haven't seen live.
Yeah.
But I've been thoroughly impressed each time I've seen you.
I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, that's
it's good to hear from old Pace Maynard now, folks. That's quite a compliment to me. I'm just saying.
Also, those bands you mentioned, Sono is phenomenal. Those are great friends.
We're gonna get Julian's goofy ass in here.
Yeah,
dude, for sure.
And and talking about brothers too, you get both of them.
Oh my god,
Julian and Dustin.
Yeah, dude, Dustin. Yo, I thought Julian was good, and then I saw Dustin. I'm just busting your balls, Julian. No, dude, Dustin is the both of them are on some crazy virtuosic shit, and it's just
a music school vibe.
Yeah. They're just
and also Papadozio fans and Dope Pop it's especially when you date back to the music it's you love the groove, you know what I mean?
They're very well versed in the music theory realm.
Yeah.
But they aren't pretentious.
They're not bound by it. And yes, they are super not pretentious. All three of those dudes are very, very lighthearted and humble. They
could speak to this more so than I can, but I believe that they grew up around some sort of meditation retreat type deal. Either they grew up around it, one of their parents were involved in it. So they're just really good people. Cool, I love them.
And also, they were also Sigh in July bands as well. They performed this year at Sigh in July. So, speaking of Sigh in July,
I'm sure they'll be back next year, as will Moonchief.
Oh, you heard it here first, Pete.
That's a verbal contract from Pace.
That is we got 2 verbal contracts.
Oh my god.
Synth to Sound pre-party.
Pace, you don't know what you got yourself into. Let's save the Sigh in July. Let's play another song and then
Jauntee,
we're talking about Jauntee. I think is that cool? Let's play that one.
Oh yeah.
Tell me the song, the name of the song. You read us the lyrics earlier.
All right, so the song is called I for an I, but it's spelled I like the letter or yourself. Sure. Foreign like a foreign land. Whoa. I like your eyeball.
I for an
and it's full of puns.
It's very punny.
Full of puns. I love puns almost as much as I love the Jauntee.
Hey.
And the version that I assume we're about to play is from their live album that is going to drop next Friday, September 14th, I believe.
Clutch.
And it's called Always Never Knowing. And I got an advance copy when we stayed with them in Boulder. And it is spicy.
Whatever. All right, the Jauntee I foreign I. Hit it, Wibble.
I think I have a stutter. Did you hear what I just muttered? That's 5 too many eyes. Imagine if they cried. for Cyclops. That'll make his day. Now I'm left with my stutter, gave my eyes to another. And I'm stuck blind, 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 blind. Yeah, I'm stuck blind, 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 blind. I'd rather lose my mind. I need to find new eyes. So I found this foreign guy. Asked him how much for an eye. Well, he said 409. Well, then he stole all my money and he fed it to my bunny. My poor bunny died. I got scammed by a scammer and I'm left with my stammer. And I'm still blind, 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 blind. And I can't even cry, 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 cry. I can't even try, 'cause I don't have any tear ducts. Well, then just my luck, up pulled a truck filled with top tier ducks, mallards with good looks. Then they all began to quack, ducks ready to attack against the foreign guy. They looked out his eyes and they brought me back mine. I'm no longer blind. Well, I always miss my bunny. I don't care about the money, 'cause I got something better. Help me with my stutter. It's fair and it's fine. The world won't go blind. Got an eye for an eye for an eye for an eye.
back.
And we're live.
The Jauntee? The Jauntee. I like that shit. That was like some twisted Dr. Seuss-esque, like, Mex Cali blues type shit. That was pretty cool, man.
They're fantastic.
Ones for days.
Dude, for days. Bass players walking all over the place, taking that thing for a walk. I like it. It was good stuff, man.
And they're just as awesome guys as they are musicians.
Where are they from, Pace?
So they are from Boston originally.
Okay.
They formed at Berkeley, but they moved to Colorado last year, so they live just outside of Boulder now.
Okay, of course. As does any kick-ass band nowadays. Word. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, I like that shit a lot. Oh, yeah, Pace, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Sigh in July.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so first of all, for anybody who doesn't know that's listening, tell us what Sigh in July is.
Sigh in July is a multi-day music and arts festival that takes place annually in Athens, Georgia at Livewire Athens in July.
Shout out to Livewire.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Amazing.
How many years has Sigh been going
on? So technically it's happened 4 years now, but there have been 3 festivals.
Okay.
The first year was actually a residency that took place every Tuesday evening at the Georgia Theater rooftop.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. I did not know that.
Did not
That's
know
pretty
that,
lit.
Yeah, so that's the first basically it started out, we were this local Athens band that wasn't touring, and Athens is a college town, so it's dead over the summer. And so we're wondering, how do we make playing Athens cool over the summer to get people to come out to it, right? So we thought we'll do a residency. I believe we'd already done a residency before that at the Green Room, which was a bar the Georgia Theater owned that is now closed. And at our residencies, we would not repeat any songs throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
And
residency being, it was just you guys playing?
Well, no. So, the other one, at the Green Room, yes. But at Sigh in July, the first year, and that's where the name came from, is we coined it. It was Sigh in July every Tuesday in July at the Georgia Theater rooftop.
Cool.
And we had 4 bands, 1 band each week. And the 4 bands were Voodoo Visionary, the Jauntee, Jamin Brahmin, and Nomadic, which was a band based in Asheville that has disbanded since. But that was actually, we already knew the Jauntee and Jamin Brahmin, but that's actually how I met Voodoo Visionary, because we reached out to Brett Perez. Shout out to Brett, who works at Aisle 5 in Atlanta and is an agent for Hoplite. And he was booking Voodoo Visionary at the time. And I actually didn't know who Voodoo was. We reached out to him about booking his band based out of Florida called Displace.
Whoop, whoop. Shout out to Displace.
Displace is a super cool band.
Yeah.
This is our shout out.
But Brett was like, no, Displace can't do it. They're down in Florida and you can't pay them enough. But but you should check out my band in Atlanta called Voodoo Visionary. And to be honest, I was like super skeptical. And then I looked it up and I was like, this is dope.
Of course. And
as you're rocking the Voodoo Visionary shirt.
Yeah,
I do have on a Voodoo Visionary shirt.
If you don't know Voodoo Visionary, they're the ultimate band in Atlanta to go put your boogie shoes on and go see. They're fun.
Yeah,
I do enjoy some voodoo, dude.
We love those guys. We've played with them a lot, and
definitely.
it's always a fun time to hang out with them.
By way of friendship is how I, learned about Voodoo Visionary. So, it's just cool between all these little festivals that we have, local fests that we have going on, here in Atlanta, and I've been lucky enough to work friendship, help out with that, and also this year I was a little bit more involved with friendship. With the Sigh in July.
Absolutely, you were very helpful.
Jenny was running around like a crazy person, at least the day I was there.
And yeah, so we've just the next year we didn't really want to do the residency because it's a lot of work. And Tuesday is just not a very good night to play, you know? Turns out people have things to do on Wednesday morning. And so we pitched the idea of doing a 1-day event on a weekend to the Georgia Theater, where we would have 4 to 6 bands inside and on the rooftop, alternating all day and all night. And it was just going to be too expensive to do it there. And Livewire had just opened up. So this was 2016. I think they opened in 2015. And that's when I met everyone at Livewire. We pitched the idea to Livewire because it was another suitable venue. And Daniel over at Livewire, Daniel Robertson, who's one of the owners, he suggested we make it a 2-day event and gave us a budget to book the talent, which was just unreal, out of this world. Unbelievable opportunity.
You want to give us money?
Yeah, and he pretty much gave me complete control over booking whoever I wanted.
Awesome.
And
it's like a dream.
That's gonna happen. Tritone Radio Fest.
It really was. And it's just grown super organically, and it would be absolutely impossible to pull off without having so many amazing and talented friends that want to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's one of the best. I think especially when I reflect to like just the festival scenes that we've sort of been able to be a part of and create this year, especially at Sigh in July, it was like really warm and awesome to see like the seasons of Sound Peeps, or like looking at people's wrists and like you were at Friendship and like seeing the bracelet and these little things, because I mean, especially when I think, we're in this world, a lot of times people, kind of have stigma about people that go to festivals a lot or enjoy music, and I mean, we just, it feels good, it feels great, it helps you, smile, it helps you to keep inspired, especially like being a part of it. And me running around is because I care so much. I want to make sure everything is covered, everything is taken care of. We're all, the plan, what you want to see, the vision's gonna be, to be seen and executed. But no one could have predicted.
Yes, I was about to say. So now that we've gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, let's talk about the fucking chaos.
What do we call it?
What was the end of Sigh in July this year?
We could just call it the Freak Hailstorm.
The Freak
Hailstorm. Simple yet effective.
I mean, it was a blessing in disguise. What I heard, though.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Pace, why don't you tell us? Good things did come. Why don't you tell us exactly what happened this year at Sigh in July?
Well, so do you want to hear what happened? Or do you want to hear it from my perspective, or?
Let me hear it from your perspective.
Spill the beans.
Yeah.
All right. So from my perspective, it was sometime between 8 and 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Friday night had gone excellently. Saturday had been going excellently, and I was trying to completely tune everything else out and get ready to perform, because it's tricky to go from like a production role to a performing role.
I'm sure.
At the drop of a dime. And so I had my headphones in and plugged into my guitar. I was warming up. We were supposed to go on like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, and Partials was on stage. And let's see, Julie and some people came in and brought some things in from outside and said, hey, it's raining outside. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of sucks, but like nothing I can do about it, And then about 5 minutes later, maybe, I put my guitar back in its case and I stand up, and who else was in there? I guess it was me and some of the Consider the Source guys. And I said, I'm going to go outside and make sure it's not a complete shit show out there. And then as soon as I said that, the power cut out. And then right after the power cut out, someone opened the door to the green room, and from my vantage point looking out the door of the green room, I could see straight outside because the door was open, and there was just golf ball sized hail flying sideways outside. And so what had been happening that whole time that I was just like, oh, whatever, it's a little bit of rain, that sucks, was that it had like started hailing, and there were hurricane force winds, and it pretty much took out 95% of the easy ups on the property. It destroyed a bunch of them. Some of them flew, some of them flew long distances. It was just complete and utter destruction. And the power to not only the venue went out, the power to most of downtown Athens and a huge section of North Athens all went out and wasn't restored until the next day.
Yep.
So it was about, 45 minutes or so after the power went out that we finally made the call and shut the event down for good. It might have been less time. I'm not exactly sure on the timeline. And and
Dude,
made sure everyone was safe. And
I was from my perspective, I left work early. I picked up a couple of my homies. I'm on the way down there to see Consider the Source and you guys, and just to take in the whole show. And I get a call like as I'm pulling into Athens. That's just like, hey bro, yeah, Sigh in July's canceled. Like it's there's literally no power in Athens right now. Like it's a total shit show. And yeah, it was just like we made the trip out there just for that. Like it was pretty funny. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
It really was. So I immediately ran outside. Several people, I didn't really understand how bad it was at first because a bunch of people were like, don't go out there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm definitely going to go out there and make sure everyone's okay. And I just ran around in the rain. And the weirdest part about the entire thing is the entire storm only lasted 12 minutes.
Damn.
And then it stopped raining and was just normal again.
It was the longest 12 minutes of my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just remember standing there and like watching complete and utter destruction, because from my vantage point, you know what I mean, we've done this beautiful meditation. I look up at the sky, I'm like, it's definitely gonna rain. Let's cover all of the universal size merch. That's what's gonna happen right now. So we're protecting everything, and I think we got the last thing placed down to where if it rains, it's going to be okay.
Peachy.
And before I know it, wind and ball, and I'm like, what the hell? Something is hitting. What is happening? What the fuck is going on? Like, it's, and you're seeing people running, and my moment is seeing pretty much, you know, a Mary Prankster, Andrew Bellinger, Josh, Tommy, Christian, James Bell, like everyone running towards the stage that was in the parking lot that had just opened up that day, all going to not only protect the equipment and help, but, keep it down, because from what I heard, it was flying up. That huge ass, field, tent is what you would say.
Yeah, it was all weighted down for like a normal storm, but this was a freak abnormal. There was abnormal conditions for sure. Tommy Uribe plays in Kilroy Coburn as a sound engineer. He was holding down one side of one of the only easy ups that didn't get destroyed, and it's because him and Andrew Robertson, who's one of the owners of Livewire, they were holding down two of the corners. And what he told me was that he's holding it down and it's lifting him and Andrew slightly off the ground. And he's like, obviously I'm not going to let go because there's a mixing console under this. Thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment. And he's like, I would never abandon this and let that get soaked. He's
the
like,
captain goes down with his shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he says that when the hail started bouncing off the ground, the golf ball size hail, onto my legs very painfully, he considered abandoning it. He was like, at what point is this dumb and I should just
Am I really gonna die for this? I didn't think it was gonna come to that.
Exactly.
I was talking a big game for a minute.
I mean, but it was that's what was happening. I remember
That's
even
insane.
going down, there was a moment I looked at Julie, who was, helped out with, all the workshops that happened and, with the artist hospitality and everything like that. She was, there, and we locked eyes and we realized, was like, man, this is a little bit scary. Like, we have to, like, just run downstairs and go in. And
Some
Partials
Bible
was
thumping
still
nut, dude.
performing.
All things considering, though, Partials was the perfect band to have up there because they had a saxophone, so they had an acoustic instrument, and so yeah, they just continued doing percussion, drums, and horn.
That's awesome.
And
Holy shit.
the staff at Livewire handled it so excellently. Once they realized what was going on and the power was out, and they got some of our gear off of the stage. They got the only gear that they had borrowed from Universal Sigh inside before it even started raining, which was incredible, and all of their gear got soaked. But once we knew we had to like clear the grounds, they did such a good job of just making sure everybody was safe.
Yeah.
And no one was hurt.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that everyone could get home safely.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, that's what I have to say is, like, amongst all that, we all did what we needed to do. And what was great was just everyone that was able to help. Like, all the musicians that had been there were like, all right, we need to bring gear in, let's do it. Like, everyone just kind
Which
of...
is a nice segue into the third part of our story. So why don't you tell us what happened after that? Because this is where it got fun.
Yeah, so afterward, we all went to Nick Bradfield's
White Rabbit, as I'm repping the shirt.
Yeah, his warehouse recording studio space, and there was a little bit of an open jam to get things warmed up, and then Consider the Source performed for about 45 minutes, and then Universal Sigh performed about 3 songs after that. But at that point, it was very late. It was like 2 in the morning, and we'd all been through a lot.
Yeah.
But we were incredibly grateful. Consider the Source didn't have to come and do that.
Yeah.
But they wanted to play, and that it meant so much to us. You know, they had been paid. They could have just gone to the hotel and been done with it. But they came and they took the risk, and they came to a random warehouse with us and hung out. And
we were talking about humble, like really good humble musicians, dude. I talked with the guitar player and the bass player with Ferreira, and what's the guitar player's name again? Gabe. Like, they were just like so fucking nice, so like open to talk to everybody, like just very, very cool. And I think that's and if you've listened to the podcast before, you know me and Will, like we've talked about Consider the Source many times. Like,
I'm rocking the hat too.
I'm literally I'm rocking my Consider the Source. I went to the Atlanta show with Machine Kid. Shout out to Machine Kid. We have to get get them up on here sometime too, but formerly Sumolon.
Yeah.
We gotta get the poster down here, by the way.
Yeah.
Gotta get the frame.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be playing some gigs with Harris at some point in the next.
Really?
Two. Yeah.
He's a monster.
Dude, Harris is a beast, dude. Yeah.
The
awesome.
Consider the Source guys are just the best people you'll ever meet.
They were so cool, and it's just a really cool thing that they came and played for everybody still, and like they seemed very moved by the fact that you guys were still trying to like make it happen. At least from like what I had gathered from talking to them for a little bit, like they seemed like they thought it was really cool what was going on too, which is those guys fucking grind. Like they know how the biz is, like, and for them to still do that, I think it says a lot about their character.
Fortunately, we had videographers on site, and they filmed the whole thing.
Give me that shit.
They were already anticipating making a little mini documentary, and so that will come out at some point.
Ooh.
Hopefully before the end of the year. We'll see.
Hashtag I survived Sigh in July.
And that's from Shane Nelson, Guilty Peach Productions.
Shout out
Shane. Yes, definitely.
Guilty Peach Productions.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome.
Cool. So I think this is a good segue into another tune, guys.
What do we got?
Thank you, Pace, for that lovely regaling us with that wonderful tale. That was fantastic.
It was great.
I think we should play another Universal Sigh song. That's all right with you?
Sure.
So the one we were talking about earlier. I'm pretty into this song right now, y'all. This is a Doubtful Sound. It's a live track from Universal Sigh at the Georgia Theater. So, Mr. Crazy Will.
Fun fact about this song. Should I tell you before or after?
Ooh, save it for after.
All right,
save
I'll
it
tell
for
you
after. Okay.
And we're back in.
All right, that was Doubtful Sound by Universal Sigh live at the Georgia Theater. Once again, you're listening to Tritone Radio. Pace, as I told you earlier, I've listened to that song, like, that was like the 6th time today. And these two will attest. I just love, like, anything that's very, like, atmospheric and just anything, like, in that vein. That song gives me a super Genesis-y, like...
That's good, yeah.
Some of the lighter King Crimson in, like, Yes type feel. Like, it's very 60s prog, but, like, not derivative. You were pointing out, like, the time signature, the odd time in the beginning and stuff, and, like, that was really cool. What can you tell me about that song? You said you had a fun fact before we left. What's a good fact about this one?
The fun fact is that the title comes from a place in New Zealand that I had the extreme pleasure and I was incredibly lucky to get to go visit. Through actually the University of Georgia. I did a Maymester down there. And on the South Island of New Zealand, on the southwest coast, it's called Fjordland, and it's just tons of fjords, which are mountains that it's flooded. It's where the sea floods valleys.
Okay.
Right. So like the sea is coming into these valleys, and the mountains drop straight into the ocean.
Okay.
And we went to this specific one called Doubtful Sound, which is where the name comes from.
Of the fjord?
That's the name of the fjord.
That's
yeah.
Kick-ass.
And it was a super long bus ride to get there, and there's no town there. There's no one there. The only building that's there is this like retreat, scientific observation place that students and like groups like ours would go to.
Cool.
And then the only light other than this building and the whole area is from the dock. And so you can go there not with groups, only for day trips, and you go and take a boat out into the fjord and come back. And there's like dolphins and whales and like all sorts of just astounding wildlife, and there's massive waterfalls that plummet straight into the fjord. And that was one of the just most remote, wild, beautiful, darkest places I've ever been. Like, other than that one light, you could go out and get somewhere where like you couldn't see the light way out there, that one little light, and you could see the entire Milky Way.
Wow.
We were there for three nights.
Jeez.
And it was just one of the most amazing
like a
experiences I've ever had. Absolutely.
That's what it sounds like. When you can kind of like be one with nature and really like be in the stillness of it all, and then look at.
Can you sound any more like a hippie right now?
I mean,
Jenny,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Oh my God.
No, but
I mean,
I got what you're saying.
I mean, everything is one.
No, you're right. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I don't know how to explain that, especially like I've the closest thing I've probably experienced here in the United States was the Blue Ridge Mountains, getting all the way to the top, and like at night me and my friend went and stayed in Nashville for a bit, and like just seeing how like just like you said, when you're able to see beyond the galaxies just a little bit more, it can be very, it's like you can't forget moments like that. And the second time for me was in Haiti, so I definitely understand like being somewhere else, like just kind of like, wow, like this is amazing.
Yeah, you're communing with nature and you're experiencing transcendence essentially. And it goes beyond language. That's why we struggle to talk about these things, is because the words did not.
They don't reflect the actual emotion.
Yeah, all of the words are loaded with all of these preconceived ideas that each of us have based on our like individual packaging and how we grew up and like what we've been exposed to, and like all of the different ideas and feelings that we associate with these words. But the thing that we're talking about that we all experience is that you lose yourself. Your ego dissolves in those experiences of transcendence in nature, which is also what we experience when we are listening to music.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love it.
I like that. Now let me ask you this. Do you feel, you're talking about death of ego, do you feel like in some instances, like the ego is like part of it, that is like a part, like I'm just thinking about like your Led Zeppelins and your Rolling Stones and these bands that are just like these massive cults of personality, but who did pump out a shit ton of good music, but by all accounts were kind of shitty people. Like, you know, I mean, just from the record, like, I can't say that for sure, but, well, you know, I guess that's the question, is like, some good art comes from fucked up people, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. So I'm hearing two things here. First, I think that it's a misconception that ego dies. We become aware of our ego.
Okay. It never really dies.
But the ego is always there.
Yeah.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
It will always be there. You don't kill your ego.
Yeah.
You can detach from your ego.
I like that better because I've just heard that term ego death a lot, and like that makes what you're saying makes a lot more sense.
This is exactly what we were talking about before with the language.
Yeah.
It's we're talking saying ego death or detaching from your ego. We're talking about the same thing. We're just using different language to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other part of what you just said before that?
Oh, dude, no, you're
Well, just talking about the egos between, like, Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin.
just
and
like,
right.
just talking about Led Zeppelin stuff.
You can cut out me asking.
No, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that was a pause, so don't worry.
It's okay.
As far as the other the other side of what you're talking about is separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's really, really important to do, and very difficult to do, and especially these days with the transparency that the internet provides.
Yeah. Not hiding anything.
With the Me Too movement being a very good example of this, it becomes even more difficult to separate the art from the artist, because you might love this song, but then you find out this person did these terrible things, and now you might feel guilty about liking this song. But I do think that we can appreciate the art and not condone the actions of the artist in a do as I say, not as I do sort of situation. But there is a fine line for me personally when it comes to continuing to support those artists financially.
Right.
For example, if one of my favorite artists did something that I thought was inexcusable, and I still loved their music, I would continue listening to their music, but I would not choose to pay to go see that artist perform.
Right.
And that's just, I don't feel that I could tell anyone else what to do, but that's what I would do.
Well, and I think that's kind of a good, I don't know. I was having this conversation the other day. I was saying that, like, I still enjoy Kevin Spacey movies. Like, he's kind of a terrible human being for what he did, but, like, I'm just not gonna deny something that's so plainly in front of my face. Like, before that, like, he was one of everybody's
That's not Kevin
favorites.
Spacey you're watching.
Exactly.
That's a character in a movie.
You don't think that, going forward, I could understand liking something already, but you don't think going forward after you get that information, it doesn't change how you sort of interpret the music or interpret the visual of that person's acting?
I think it absolutely can, but that's for you to decide.
That's what
I don't think
about the separation of art and
I don't
artist.
think that we should put people down for continuing to enjoy art that the artists did messed up things.
Oh, no, definitely, yeah.
But, like, you might decide that art doesn't speak to you anymore for some reason. One that I think that a lot of people, that is really recent, that I think that is really hard for a lot of people to come to terms with, is all these allegations against Maynard James Keenan of Tool.
I'm not familiar with that. What happened?
Oh yeah,
with
this is recent.
Oh, well, let's not go into it. Just look it up after this.
No, break my heart. Tell me what's going on.
I don't want to be the one.
He doesn't want to be the one.
It's already out.
It's already opened.
Okay.
I mean, there's just a lot of sexual misconduct allegations against Maynard James Keenan going back for decades. And lots of people knew about it and covered it up, apparently.
Jesus, that's a fucking bummer.
But that's what's happened right now. It's like, with new information and now with like a new voice, there's now, you know what I mean? It can be a little bit, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But I don't know. I guess that's the awareness.
God damn it, for real?
But that's just one example of that has made me think about that exact thing a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I'm a fucking huge fan of that band.
Everyone I know is.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like Tool? Those guys. I mean, they're.
That'd be like if it came out that Tom York was.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. God help.
We're not having this conversation.
Seems like such a good guy. That'd be terrible.
Yeah. Or I mean, like, look at John Lennon has tons of different allegations.
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't even get on the Beatles. I love their music, but like, they were all fucking demons except for George, that fucking beautiful angel.
But everyone is in a different place on their path, and that doesn't excuse any of the actions of any of these people, but they're human.
Yeah, it's true.
Humans
That's
are
very
gonna make
true. I
mistakes.
think it's
definitely.
really. I mean, I'm very guilty of it, but I think it's very easy to like jump down all over somebody, jump down someone's throat on that's famous because you're just like, oh, but like we've all done shitty things at times. We've all thought about ourselves over someone else at times. Like, so yeah, it's very true. So.
We're all quick to judge.
Yeah.
But we. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I think the internet has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, the internet has us all fucked. Okay, let's just throw that out there real quick.
In all reality, like, throughout time, it's not like celebrities and famous people have gotten worse over the years. It's just that we've just become, their behavior's just become more exposed to the mainstream.
Yes.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Because I think that
it's
things
good to
that
know,
people
and we
should
need
be
to know, and we need to be
transparent.
aware.
Yeah.
I mean, those people, anyone that takes advantage of someone else because they are in a position of power or fame or prestige, they should not be able to afford to do that. You know?
That shit's reprehensible.
Yeah, and what the internet is doing is it's providing transparency, and it is holding people accountable for their actions.
Yep, exactly. And it's necessary, and I think that's what kind of can bring out a more like sense of awareness for yourself, a more sense of awareness for your action, a more sense of awareness for the ego that, you know what I mean, needs to, be put in check every now and again.
That's very true.
That's very well put.
At the same time, I feel like people can just like live these like colored lives like through the internet, like this like life that seems like more than you actually. I don't know. I see a lot of people like who just post up fucking pictures of shit that they're doing, and like I go to see them and they're not actually doing that shit. They're just like fucking hanging out, like not doing anything.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the perception
exactly.
of
I think that's like the other side of that coin is like
this is what we call poser.
Yeah, with all that being said though, the tricky question comes into like, how do we heal and forgive these people? Because we can't just, if we just
like condemn them.
If we just condemn them forever, then how are they going to heal and grow from the experience?
For sure.
And we create, it's us projecting hate, and it's us projecting on. Yeah, you're right.
So
that's very.
We need to keep the compassion for all people in our heart.
Yeah.
Well said, Pace. I'm glad we asked Pace on the podcast.
Yeah.
Bringing all the good vibes. We're just all three talking shit to each other. Pace is in here like, nah, man.
Okay.
He's right.
Yes.
Nah, but I love you guys. Just for the record, all the shit talking. Like, you guys are all right.
Yeah.
Well, you're okay, Jenna. You're cool.
Oh, so I'm just okay.
You're okay. All right.
I know I'm amazing.
I know. And all of it's out the window. Cool. Well, I think that's a good segue, man. What do you guys think? What's the next song? Pace, what do you want to play? You pick one of the songs you sent me. What are you feeling now?
What was on the list? There was
Misnomer.
How about Misnomer?
Sure.
Orange Constant.
I like Misnomer.
Yeah, we could play Misnomer.
Was it Cloud 9?
Cloud 9, yeah.
All right, this is Misnomer with Cloud 9 on Tritone Radio. You're listening to Tritone Radio. That was Misnomer.
AKA, also known as, back in the day, Mr. Tie-Dye.
Senor Tie-Dye.
But that's gone now.
Yes.
Misnomer has finally took.
Yeah. Which I'm not going to lie, I like that name better. I'm going to be straight up.
I've finally come around to it.
Yeah, I can dig it. Mr. Tie-Dye was cool, but I was just like, it worked when you guys did Mr. Sigh-Dye.
Yeah.
Oh,
That that just happened to, like, again, very punny. I liked it. But, yeah, God, you guys laid down that cashmere cover. Dude, I was freaking out. I was having so much fun at that show. That was good. That was a Sigh in July, right?
That was Sigh in July last year,
last year, yes. We also did, Lingus.
Yes, you guys did Snarky Puppy,
Yeah.
which is very much the vibe I get off of that band. Yeah, dude, I spent 3 days in Miami at their festival. It was fucking fantastic.
Mason, their drummer, is actually Snarky Puppy's drum tech.
Yes, Reed was telling me that he's kind of been talking to him and stuff, and like.
Yes, he goes on tour with Snarky Puppy every time they go on tour.
Badass. That's quite a gig, dude.
And I don't know their names, but 2 of the other guys on Snarky Puppy's crew used to work at the Georgia Theater, and Snarky Puppy picked them all up. So they have 3 people from Athens on their crew.
That's amazing.
Word.
Shout out to Athens.
Athens
the fucking classic
represented.
city.
Oh, my favorite
That's
city.
what's up. Well, so Misnomer is going to be at Seeds of Sound,
What?
which you probably are sick of hearing us talk about. But
No,
if you
you're
just
not.
buy a ticket, we'd shut
Get
up.
a ticket and come on.
But
it.
Seeds of Sound is coming up in 3 weeks, dude. October 4th through the 6th. It's being headlined by our dear friend here, Mr. Pace Maynard, who is here with us. Man, I'm so pumped. Pace, how pumped are you on a scale of 1 to fucking pumped for the festival?
I'm fucking pumped.
Hey, there it is. That's what I'm
Ayo.
talking about. Ayo.
By the way, if you want, dress up as Tom York. Wear a bowler hat and a white shirt, and during a Universal Side set, we'll dance like Tom York and enjoy ourselves.
Dance
Please.
just like Tom York.
Let's flash mob Tom York during Universal
And now,
Side.
Pace, you guys will have 2 sets, correct?
No, actually, it's just the one set.
You guys just have 1 set?
Yeah, it's just 1.
Oh, shit. Are you guys just doing the 1 set?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the Radiohead.
Dude,
Yeah.
okay, so that was my question then. What, why Radiohead? As just like why Radiohead, basically, is my question.
Well, so Radiohead is one of the first, it might have been the first band that we all really bonded over. And the band is named after a Radiohead reference as well.
Really?
But they've just been one of my absolute favorite bands since high school.
Oh, yeah.
There's just I was always really into Pink Floyd too, and the way, in a similar vein, they just don't leave anything to chance. They the attention to detail on every aspect of how the music is presented, every bit of the recording process, every bit of the way it's released, just all of it. It's all intentional,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things I just love about that band.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Favorite Radiohead album?
That's an impossible question to answer.
Oh.
I mean, Desert Island album, I'd probably take In Rainbows.
Yeah. I mean.
But I'm a huge Kid A fan, and it's also really hard for me to separate Kid A and Amnesiac because they all came from similar sessions.
Right.
So I kind of group those together. But it's hard to throw out OK Computer.
Of course.
That's
kind of their. I think that like.
Moon-shaped
I
pool.
think in Rainbows is like their opus magnum.
Well, so I don't know if enough time has passed, but I almost feel that way about A Moon-Shaped Pool.
Yeah.
A lot of those songs they held back for a really long time. Like
Yeah.
True Love Waits was written in 1994.
Oh wow.
And the themes in A Moon-Shaped Pool just run so deep.
Yeah,
I need to listen to that one more. I don't think I'm as quite
from
as familiar
beginning
with
to
that one.
end. I think the cool thing about Radiohead is like they have a way of like hitting you at different times and like kind of like fit in an emotion or a feeling that you can't really describe in words, but once you play it, it makes sense. Like for me, A Moon-Shaped Pool, it came out when I was in Haiti, and like honestly, like, my uncle had died, and that was the only album that had downloaded on my phone that I could listen to consistently throughout my whole 10-day trip in Haiti. And we'd found out, like, maybe day 4 that my uncle died, and we had to, like, wait till we go back. And it was, like, because of how dark it was, but yet uplifting, because it had this sort of, like, flip. Like, even in dark, there is, like, kind of note to it. But exactly what you said, it's just, I don't know, it's just so... Everything is intentional, but, like, it's so, I don't know. But I think Universal Sigh definitely, like, you have a way, you guys have a way about it as well, and how you...
Well, it's funny because I hear you guys, and, like, I don't necessarily think Radiohead until you say something, and then I hear, like, shades of it.
Well, Doubtful Sound is very Radiohead.
That's pretty Radiohead-esque, yes. But, like, I guess it just, like, even when I first heard that wasn't necessarily my first thought. It was like, this sounds like Radiohead. It sounds like...
Radiohead is just a very rare example of where art and commerce meet perfectly, you know?
Define commerce.
Like selling music and, like,
yes,
you know,
okay,
like,
I got you.
Most band, that's not accurate. But, it's just really hard to make a living playing exactly what you want to play, right?
Yeah.
And Radiohead really, hit the jackpot in that they, were in the right place at the right time writing awesome music so that they OK Computer essentially, well, it's like Pablo Honey, they wrote a pop album, right? Yeah. And then the Benz is Stadium Rock, and they were sort of demonstrating that they could do what everyone wanted them to do. Yeah. And then OK Computer is sort of the pinnacle of that. OK Computer, didn't Rolling Stone call it, like, the Dark Side of the Moon of, it's called it, like, the best album since Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. But basically, OK Computer allowed Radiohead to do whatever they wanted in the studio after that, you know? And so an album like A Moon-Shaped Pool, or, like, even, like, Amnesiac and Kid A, like, it'd be really hard to put that out as your first record and get any sort of, like, notoriety or like or like get the project off the ground financially, you know. But it's a lot like Pink Floyd, where it's just the music is excellent, the themes and, like, the art is excellent, the record sold excellently. You know, it's just the perfect storm of awesomeness.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited that you guys are actually, like, covering, like, a good bit of, you know...
Yeah, I was about to say, are you guys going, like, they running the gambit? Like,
yeah, we don't hit every album, but we do stuff... so we've done this... We've done Radiohead cover sets before, but this is the only one we're doing in 2018. I think we've done it 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
We'll do stuff off of OK Computer.
You guys will cover, like, Paranoid Android. Y'all have covered Karma Police, Weird Fishes, Nude, Body Snatchers, I Might Be Wrong, Street Spirit, There. Like, y'all,
What's the opening one on In Rainbows?
Oh, you're quizzing me.
13 steps?
15 steps.
15 steps. 13 steps.
That song's in 5.
Dude, that's fucking am, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah,
you
Body
guys do
Snatchers.
that one?
No, we've never done that one. Mike Gordon's band does it though, and it's pretty cool. Fish's bass player. We're probably gonna do a song off of Moon-Shaped Pool. We've been trying to. We just don't have a whole lot of time, but we have a list of a couple new ones we're trying to get to, that hopefully we'll get to before the festival.
Hell yeah! I'm super excited about that one. I'm excited. That's gonna be really.
I'm really excited that you guys, you know, are coming back, but, you know, also last year they had 2 sets, and I think that's what you probably like remember. Yeah.
I told you guys I can't remember shit. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast.
So we started out and we did for our residency. I think it was on our residency. Yeah, we did a residency in 2014 in March, and we played every week and we didn't repeat any songs. And one of the dates fell on my birthday, so I pitched the idea to the band that we do a Radiohead Pink Floyd cover set.
Ooh. Wow.
And that's what we did.
Hell
and we didn't tell anyone. We just, like, played it as the first set, as like you were there or you weren't. And in retrospect, we were all like, man, we probably should have advertised that.
Yeah.
But, like, Pink Floyd has gotten covered all the time, and we had half of a Radiohead set, so we were just like, hey, let's learn some more Radiohead songs. We all love Radiohead.
Hell yeah.
So that's sort of how it came about.
I didn't even know Pink Floyd was an option. I would have, got that on it.
hey, next year. Oh, hey, one of the coolest things about that set, and I believe there might be a video on YouTube. A video exists, whether it's on YouTube or not. But we did a mashup of Estimated Profit by the Grateful Dead and Money.
Ooh,
where we played Estimated Profit, and in the middle of Estimated Profit we played Money, and then we went back into Estimated Profit. And it's something we only did that like once or twice, and I've always wanted to do it again.
That's on YouTube. It's being shared on Tritone Radio.
We'll get that.
The dark side of the moon.
Oh, the puns! You can have that for $1 every time you say it.
Oh, I would love to do Dark Side of the Moon.
Dude, man, I had this idea. I couldn't talk the boys into doing it for the festival, but kind of wanted to troll everybody at the festival a little bit and do. I wanted to be like, this is a Grateful Dead song, but like open it up with Rain and Blood, and like play like maybe like a minute and a half of like Rain and Blood, and then go into Estimated Profit, and then close with that breakdown at the end of Rain and Blood, but do it all reggae like the. Like Estimated Profit, like
sounds like one of those things that would take a ton of work.
Yes,
and like may or may not be worth it, depending on.
Everybody just be like, "What the fuck is this kid on, dude?" I wanted to call it Estimated in Blood. I thought it was gonna be like.
We used to do stuff where we would like play with another band, and we'd alternate sets, so we each play 2 sets, and it would be like we would backline all of the gear that we could. And we would just never have the music end, and we'd switch out. And like we did this with this band called the Fresh Tones, which has the guy that ran that band, DJ Reese, now plays in Casual Cadenza in Atlanta. But one time, one of my favorite shows, we played at the Basement in Atlanta, and we started Jessica by the Allman Brothers, and then they finished it.
Oh shit!
And we switched out one at a time.
I can dig that.
But my point is, we used to do stuff like that because we just thought it was awesome, and like we want to see other bands do it. And I had heard about like Umphreys and Mo doing stuff like that.
Right.
But logistically, it's just a pain in the ass. And when you tell a sound guy you want to do that,
he's just like,
they're just like, what the
go fuck yourself.
It's like when we would show up with 2 drummers.
Oh man, that's funny as hell.
So. Speaking of Seeds of Sound,
can
you just kind of like tell us about your experience a little bit, what you're excited for, like what, you know what I mean? Not to, I know I'm a part of it, but.
Seeds of Sound last year.
I know the answer to it.
Seeds of Sound last year is just so beautiful. It's like just put on by amazing people for all of the right reasons. It's just a love fest. The music is fantastic. Let's see. Last year I saw so much good music, but seeing a Loner last year just freaking blew me away.
So I used to play in a band with Josh like back in the day, and like, yeah, he's like that's like our theme song right now. We were busting out that Loner a lot, dude.
I just like after the show I had to go meet him. I was just like, dude, oh my god, that was incredible.
He's a wild human being. Like I've been on a lot of alleged psychedelic journeys with Mr. Loner, and. Yeah, the kid's a wild man. Dude, that kid just, like, shit songs out like it's nothing. He's the one that taught me that, like, you shouldn't be, at least from, like, his method, like, it's, you know, all of these songs are disposable, dude. Like, you're gonna write, like, 1,000 more. You just gotta keep pumping them out, dude. And that was kind of, like, his mentality for a while. And it was fun trying to just keep up with, like, every other day he would have a new song for us to play. And it was, yeah, they're fucking amazing. Crazy. Best gender fluid band in the city, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly.
And no, it's just an awesome festival put on by amazing people. And this year, I'm super excited for Groot, personally.
Heard good things.
They're phenomenal. We're friends with Space Cadet and have played with them.
Yeah, dude.
Periodically.
Another guy I grew up playing with, TG Thomas Garrett. Like I grew up like playing with that like music with that dude. Like he was dude. that kid was in like hardcore and like metalcore bands in high school.
I think that's one of the great things is like realizing how like we all kind of know each other from like the past, and here we all are like still doing, you know, whatever we're doing as, you know, artists and creatives in this world, and it's just amazing, like just like watching it all sort of connect and seeing that, like that's what, you know, Seeds of Sound is, like this huge networking kind of like festival in a sense with everyone together in one spot, and just like, you know, like any festival, but a little bit more, like it's just like every time I'm talking to someone, oh yeah, that's my boy, I knew him from this, oh yeah,
it's interesting how we all kind of like, it all came full circle. We talked about this before, Jenny, how it all just kind of has come back around to where the people who were in, you know, in the of the same mindset, like end up meeting back up at some point.
And I mean, Voodoo Visionary, we've mentioned them earlier. They're great friends. Misnomer, who we just listened to. Lingua Franca is awesome. And she just got elected in Athens to a political position.
We talked about her on the last podcast. We spoke pretty highly. Jenny was telling me she did not swear in on a Bible. She swore in on what did you say? It was
Malcolm X.
And I was like, yes! That's awesome.
She has a track with Misnomer. It's pretty dope.
That's what we
that was
played
the last song.
Nice. Indie Killed the Pop Star was great last year. Will she have the full band this time?
She's getting a full band. Yes.
Fuck,
this is what
yes.
we're
awesome.
definitely.
Let's see what else on here. Kilroy Cobra, obviously, are really good friends of ours. Pure Colors was at Sigh in July. The Rhythm and News crew is fantastic.
And the Rhythm and News Super Jam.
I'm sure some of us will play in that. Jones and I are playing in that.
Okay,
I
believe I'll be there.
Yes, Wednesday. It's a week from today.
Today?
Yeah, a week from today.
September 19th at Aisle 5. Be there.
Let's see. White Rabbit Collective, we mentioned earlier. Oh, I've known Andy Breff for years. Him and Robbie Dude played at the first time I ever met them was at the Green Room. The first time we ever played the Green Room before any of that other stuff I was talking about. Andy, just hanging out with him over the years, just like left such a great impression on me, because he's just so kind and open, and I really learned a lot from him.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Andy. Sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah. Pace are fantastic. They're the hottest up and coming. You know. Power Jam Group out of Atlanta.
Power Jam Group.
That's how I describe
I'm digging it on some Pace.
Let's see. Bucks are good friends. Animal Ace. Moon Chief, of course. Oh, hey, Cosm and Knot. That's Jesse Sigelski is in that group, and he did the album artwork for Atoms and Void.
Okay, that album artwork's sick.
He's an incredibly talented visual artist as well as musician. The Instructors, I really love Russ and the Instructors.
Russ, yes. I met him at Friendship last year.
Groot's down there, and I mentioned them. I've never seen them, but Monk Tesh, I've heard really good things about.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, that's
nice.
That's actually.
Unfortunately, we're not.
They're not
playing.
That's one of those pulls that
sad.
It's sad.
Lane Denton was at Sigh in July.
Lane Denton's actually a buddy of ours too. Dude.
I booked Lane because I saw him at Seeds of Sound last year.
Dude, Lane gets my fucking band drunk as piss every time he sees them, or at least like the last 2 times he's seen them. Like Johnny was like, dude, we were all good, and then Lane showed up and was just like, shots for everyone, and then they all forgot what happened.
Yes, there's tons of good stuff on here. J-Bulls, who was formerly Lucidia before he was.
Yeah, he plays with or he was playing with Thomas from Space Cadet.
Totally.
I recorded with him. He was at AIM the same time I was. And I recorded on like one of his projects too.
AIM is definitely that's where a lot of you guys all.
Yeah, actually, you probably know this, but Jones takes drum lessons from Eric Sanders.
Oh yeah, I know fucking Eric. Dude.
Yeah. And then Sono, of course, we mentioned earlier, and A Merry Prankster I also saw last year.
Yeah, we played some of them on like the first episode that Jenny got in on. We played some Merry Prankster.
If we're lucky, I'll be sitting in with him.
Yeah, that's
happening. No, we talked about
verbal
that. Verbal
contract number 3. Pace is playing with Merry Prankster, guys.
I wanted to do it at Sigh in July, but the scheduling just didn't work out because he was playing before and slightly during our set.
Right.
Which I thought was an awesome way for the fans to experience it.
Yeah.
Because before our set, there's the psychedelic down-tempo music outside, And then if like we're too much, we're this loud rock band, you go out there and there's these like chill
still
down tempo
jamming
vibes,
out,
you know.
A lot of people
he
chilling.
was awesome at Sigh in July with Tommy. Like that was.
I didn't get to see it at all, but I know he was awesome because his
it was
music is
fucking-
phenomenal.
I had never heard of him before. It was fucking.
I was
killer.
blown away
I'm
last
a
year at
fan.
Seeds of
Shout
Sound.
out
I
to
had no
Mary
idea,
Prankster.
but yeah.
I want to see Mary Prankster. Like, I just want to be like, hey man, let me pick like 5 guitar players for you to do sets with, because I want to see one with like Pace, and one with Cody, and one with Julian, and like I don't know.
I want to do.
out.
I hope. I want to do it. I don't know if me and Tommy are both going to be up there. That's what we talked about doing a while back.
I would do
But
that
I want to
too.
do exactly what Tommy did last year, which is have my pedal board on a keyboard stand so that I can get all of the knobs. Because I love turning knobs.
I love knobs.
I love knobs.
And turning
What
them.
can I say?
I pick my pedals based on how many knobs they have.
That's so fair. That's such a reasonable way to pick your fucking pedals.
What's
though.
funny about that is I say that ironically, except that does factor in, except the other way around. I want there to be the fewest knobs possible on most of my
really?
pedals because it's less stuff to get fucked up live.
Oh, dude, see, I want all the fucking crazy shit I can get out of my pedals. But you're right. It goes like one of 2 ways real fast.
You have to be really familiar with it, or else you're just like live and you're like, why doesn't this sound the way I want it to sound?
No shit. I'm sure many of you out there can attest to such things. All you guitar players with your fucking 30 pedal boards.
I mean, I have no idea a lot, but since I've kind of started, hanging out with Moonchief, managing Moonchief, like I've definitely learning some things about
Yeah.
pedal life. And
Yeah.
If you're into guitar pedals, you gotta check out Caton from the Jauntee's pedal board.
Yeah.
He's got some
Nasty
of the
board.
coolest shit I've ever
Dude,
seen.
all the jam guys have like just gnarly boards, just real crazy fucking.
Because we gotta go
boards.
out into space, man.
It's so true. It's true. It takes a lot of technology. Oh, beautiful. So anyway, Seeds of Sound. If you don't already have a ticket, there's your problem.
You can buy them from us, Universal Sigh.
Universal Sigh or Moonchief. Just throwing that out there. If Universal Sigh is not within earshot. I'm just kidding. But yeah, just get a ticket. It doesn't matter where it's from.
Come out
just
to
get a
Seeds
freaking
of
ticket.
Sound.
Seeds of Sound
We'll
is
be
gonna
selling
be a
day
blast.
tickets that
We'll
day
be
as
there.
well.
We'll all be partying, having a good time. It's just gonna be good.
It's one of my favorite things about Seeds of Sound is that it's not just a music festival; it's a music healing and arts festival.
Yes, which Jenny has been very, very vocal about, which I think is great. Like it's not just this is a happy place.
I mean, if you look around the world, we could use some healing.
We could all use it, dude. One of my friends that's coming into town, I haven't seen in a while. He's a very very outspoken person. Like he's just a real wild dude, like kind of a pessimist, but like one of my oldest friends. And he was just saying like he was very excited. He's like, man, he's like, normally I'm not about like the hippie life, but like it's like I really feel like that's what I need right now. It's just a bunch of chill people to like, have fun and listen to music with.
The lineup of the festival is so diverse.
Oh, it's sick, dude. That's what I keep preaching to people is like, man, you are getting some bang for your buck.
It's way more diverse than the Sigh in July lineup, honestly.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid. I really like the lineup this year, dude, for Sigh.
Oh yeah, I've been thrilled with them. It's been it started out like 3 years ago as like almost all jam bands, and it's been diversifying.
Yes.
But we just it's when you have it out in like when it's a destination thing, you can you can do it a little differently, right? But it's like we're in a market, we're in Athens, so we kind of have to do what works in Athens.
Absolutely, yeah, which is understandable. But you're right. This is like very eclectic, very much, which is how if anybody who's listening hasn't figured it out yet, I like a lot of different kind of music. Like it's kind of hard to just subscribe to like one genre to listen to.
We had tried like one of the things about Seeds of Sound is that it's lots of Athens, lots of Atlanta. I'm sure there's some other Georgia acts in there as well.
Savannah,
Whereas we have tried to do that in the past at Sigh in July and like booked a bunch of Atlanta stuff, and just didn't have the people come over from Atlanta that we were hoping would.
Right.
So we understand that our event is like an Athens thing.
Right.
And so it's mostly going to be people from Athens coming to it.
But I think that's the cool thing is I feel like, Seeds of Sound is a culmination of everything. Look at Friendship this year, had majority Seeds of Sound people from last year. And that was like kind of like watching this bridge that we're sort of building and having Seeds of Sound kind of like the fall overall kind of like celebration of, all of that we've put into, in the summer, in the spring, and then now here we are. It's just, it's just a beautiful thing, and just watching this like bridge go and grow, you know, where we planted the seed and now here we are just kind of like going in again and with the same people like down for the cause, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
man.
it's gonna be a great time.
I'm extra stoked, extra looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You can hear more about Seeds of Sound at Tritone Radio. We'll be there. We'll be
follow all of our social media.
Follow our crap.
Seeds of Sound, musicfestival.com.
Sosma.
Sosma. Hashtag SOSME.
Okay, you guys are goobers. Anyway, let's pop this next song. So you had a specific, you wanted to shout out to your buddies here that we're about to play right now.
Oh, totally, yes. So this next band is called Blue Yonder. Actually, they just changed their name to Electric Blue Yonder.
Electric
to
Blue Yonder.
differentiate themselves from some other acts.
Sure.
But they're based in Montgomery, Alabama.
Hell yeah.
And honestly, I just got turned on to them. Where did I meet them? I met them at the Fam Jam in Huntsville, Alabama. Whenever that was, maybe last fall. And I was blown away. I don't actually know that much about them except that they're super friendly and cool, and they sound great.
Right on.
And I believe the frontman Jauntee and the other vocalist are husband and wife.
Okay.
And then there's bass and drums, and there's a lead guitar player. And they it started out as more like an acoustic project, I believe, but they definitely have a very like electric psychedelic slant.
Oh yeah.
And they don't have a whole lot of music out there right now. And their EP that they have on Spotify is pretty acoustic, but from seeing them live, I am super excited about whatever they're gonna do next.
Maybe we can keep pushing them forward here. Okay, go check out Blue Yonder. Blue Yonder. What's the name of the song?
I believe the song is called Nocturna.
Nocturna by Blue Yonder. Crazy Will.
Wait.
From a living, but they can be forgiven. Don't try to take it 'cause you think you gotta make it on your own. There's a light right beside you. Open up your eyes, let it guide you. 'Cause the bed that you made is covered in shade and no one sees you. But I won't let you down. Please just touch me a little. Living in darkness can feel so long. Don't hide your shattered on the floor like the broken glass of a window. I can see the light reflected by the night when you came in. And I would have given you almost anything. All you had to do was ask me. And I won't let you down. Please just
That's all good.
No, yeah.
Just clip that in the middle somewhere. Tiny Desk!
Just start the song in the middle of the song.
And all our sins from Tiny Desk!
George just blinks, like right above it every time.
Eat it, Joes. Welcome back, Tritone Radio. That was Blue Yonder with their song Nocturna.
We've got another fun fact.
Another fun fact. Facts with Pace Maynard. Pace, tell us a fun fact about Blue Yonder.
So Jauntee, their frontman, does set design, and he has worked for The Walking Dead before.
Kick ass.
That's pretty dope.
So,
That was really
right
good,
here in the
actually. I
great
really
state of
enjoyed
Georgia.
that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I actually that was pretty chill. I was saying like that's like some shit. I'm gonna go sit down with my papa and just be like, hey man, check this out. Like he'll dig that.
That's awesome.
I like that. That was good. But yeah, man, Pace, thank you again so much for coming out. This has been awesome.
This has been really great.
It's a long hike from Athens.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for you guys to have me.
Hey, man,
Yes,
yeah,
you are infinitely invited back, and
Yep.
we can talk to you forever and ever. It's funny because like we've been talking off air and on air, and it's just like everything is content.
I feel like I keep having to stop and be like, oh no, shit.
We should start recording now, like, because it's just it's just one.
Well, as soon as Pace got here, like we were talking about like the Bhagavad Gita and like Eastern religion. I was like, all right, tonight's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
like, this is gonna be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, Pace, I have so like last segment here. I want to get your input on just some advice because your band Universal Sigh is having a lot of success right now. You've been telling us about all these shows you've been playing. You guys are headlining some festivals. You're kicking ass all over the place. What's some good advice for some people trying to start up their bands and get going? What's the first thing you tell them?
First thing, be kind.
Be kind. Yeah.
I guess goes for anyone, whether you're starting a band or whatever you're doing.
Absolutely.
Be kind.
Yeah.
It's a long road. It's a long road.
That it is. It's a grind, man.
And your word and your integrity is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you only get to make a first impression once. And so really making sure that you're putting your best foot forward and you're not putting out content or contacting different people in the industry before you're really ready to is very important because it only takes 10 seconds for someone to write off your band forever.
Oh yeah, I do that shit all the time, like all the time.
While at the same time, it's important to give everyone a shot.
Of course.
Because I've received emails that I was pretty sure I was just going to end up blowing off with, some generic, like, hey, we're not available to do this response, and discovered awesome music because somebody reached out that liked our band, and then I liked their band, and then it led to all sorts of stuff. Or like the example with Brett and Voodoo, Or a really good example is Kilroy Cobra. Kilroy Cobra was the first band that I booked at Sigh in July without having heard or seen them live.
Oh, wow.
Because Anthony Prince from the Night Shift hit me up and he said, hey, you should book my friend's band. And just to be perfectly honest, I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to do that in my head, And then I listened to Man of the World and I was like,
what an album,
yes,
dude.
yes, I want to have this band at my festival.
Yeah.
And then I guess as far as like how you get on the festivals and how you like grow these markets is you grind and you play live and you develop something that you can offer these events and other bands and the venues.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And what is like what's good in terms of like promotion as far as like giving something to offer? By that do you mean just your actual music itself, the amount of people you bring?
Well, the music connecting with the music needing to be good and connecting with people is a given.
Yeah.
It's like the Jauntee told me really early on. I can't remember who it was that said this. They said, don't expect anyone to be at your show that specifically came to see you unless you've played a market 2 to 3 times a year for at least 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
that's really good advice.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy advice.
I mean, but that's like for any business or for anything. Like you have to really put in the work to expect to get that, result. And
which is essentially what you're doing. You're starting a business.
Yeah, when you hear about, that's a perfect example. Yeah. If you don't treat it like a business, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you, there are exceptions always, but if you are making your art and you expect someone else to come along and just make your art profitable, that's probably not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So if it's important to you to have the art generate revenue to keep the art going, then you got to treat it like a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I dig that. I guess the last thing I want to ask you is like, how do you personally, how do you stay motivated in this? Is this just something that you just love it so much that like you are compelled to do it? Or like, are you looking into the future and seeing like a certain thing and that's like what keeps driving you? What is it?
I'm trying not to look into the future or the past. I'm trying to stay in the present moment.
I got you. Good answer.
I think the journey and the process is where it's at for me. I'm motivated by the way that music has affected me throughout my life and is not healed, but is healing, and has contributed to my healing over the years. I've always felt like if I could connect with one person each night in a meaningful way, that was completely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also very energized by nature, and really developing a yoga practice for me has contributed a lot to my peace of mind
and your present moment awareness.
My well-being and happiness.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I hear lots of.
I mean, I've been in awe this whole time. It's been great to have your like calming presence and just even like putting all that out there, because it's like, these are things that you already know about yourself, but like what's good, what feeds the soul to a degree. But like I respect, you all as musicians, but also you guys as people. And, as friends and really
when you're
good
a rock
friends.
star, Pace, you're not going to be a fucking lunatic, in other words. You're going to still be cool, fun, chill Pace.
The rock star is a unicorn. They don't exist.
Oh my god. I feel like Keith and Mick might have back to differ.
They're just dudes. They're just people.
They're just bros.
They're just people, too.
They're just people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, this has been fucking awesome, man. Thank you so much again for coming. For those of you who don't, just tuning in. It's Tritone Radio. We're here with Pace Maynard and Universal Sigh.
If you're just tuning in, you need to rewind and start from the beginning.
This isn't even like, I don't even know why I said that.
You should check out Moonchief too. They're pretty freaking awesome.
Okay. Thanks, Pace. Shameless plug. Not the first one, not from me or Jenny. That's awesome. There's a lot of firsts tonight.
Moonchief has stamp of approval from Pace.
You heard it right there. Another Tritone exclusive. Well, that's what's up. Thanks again, Pace. I think we're gonna wraps it up with another one of y'all's tunes, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Can I play Adams and Void?
Sure.
Play the title track. That's a bet. And then if you guys want to hang tight, this may or may not be on there, but we're gonna try to get an exclusive from Jauntee. And we're gonna see how that works out. But just listen for if there's another song after Universal Sigh here, you'll know that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna beg Erwin to let us premiere one. We'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna do some pleading.
Please, Erwin, can we do it?
Pretty please, with sugar on top.
Hell yeah. Well, Pace, come back and holler at us again, man. I'm sure we'll have you back in here soon enough. And thanks again, brother.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate
Tritone Radio, no problem, buddy. Tritone Radio, signing out. Universal Sigh. Boom.